Hello, Prime Minister.
Hello, Murray.
Thank you for taking our questions. A number of nations signed a statement yesterday pledging essentially no more D-Days. How realistic is that in today's international environment, and were you thinking of any particular country when crafting that and signing it?
I think one of the important things about today is not just remembering the incredible sacrifices made 75 years ago by so many young soldiers who ended up far from home, is the ideals that they were fighting for, what they were sacrificing for. The ideals of freedom, of defense of human rights and rights, the idea of democracy. These are things that we remember today. These are things that we need to build into our future. And I think any opportunity we have to recommit ourselves to a world in which rights are respected, in which individuals are given full opportunities, in which freedom from violence and oppression is something we can all agree on, is important. We know there will always be challenging times in the world, but by remembering moments of the past, we can always do better as we look to the future.
Just as a quick follow-up, there was no representative of the royal family here today. Why was that?
I was pleased to spend yesterday with Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness at a very moving ceremony in Portsmouth. I understand that the British have a ceremony going on this afternoon down at the British landing space. I was pleased to be here today with so many Canadians, so many veterans, with the Prime Minister of France. This is a moment for commemoration that all countries are engaging in their ways.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Good to see you. I want to talk a little bit more about the genocide finding in the Missing and Murdered Women Inquiry. Not so much is it or not, but certainly for some people around the world, a finding of genocide, people at the United Nations and elsewhere, now think it's time to investigate this genocide. And I wonder what you think about whether this pursues or would help reconciliation, prosecuting or investigating Canadian institutions or even Canadian individuals, historical individuals, for a potential genocide.
Our focus on calling the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls was very much on putting an end to this ongoing national tragedy. And that's why the work that the commissioners and the commission and the families who shared their heartbreaking stories was so important in establishing what happened and, more so, creating a path forward. Our focus as a government, our focus as Canadians, our focus as a world needs to be on moving forward in ways that respect Indigenous peoples, support Indigenous languages and culture, and put an end to the terrible violence that continues in Canada and elsewhere around the world. And I think if the work that Canada has done to highlight the challenges that we have faced and that in some ways are ongoing, then I think the world has a positive lesson to learn. Je pense que ce qui est important de se souvenir, c'est que on a lancé cette enquête parce que la commission de vérité et réconciliation l'a demandé, mais aussi parce qu'on reconnaissait qu'il fallait mettre fin à cette tragédie qui dure depuis trop longtemps et qui continue. Cette violence contre les femmes et filles autochtones doit cesser. Et notre travail maintenant, c'est de reconnaître le passé, reconnaître ce qui se passe maintenant, mais surtout de mettre en mesure des solutions pour changer la façon que le Canada se comporte et protège les peuples autochtones. S'il y a des leçons pour le monde entier, c'est par rapport à l'importance et de protéger les communautés et peuples autochtones de la violence, mais aussi de célébrer l'identité, la culture, la langue, comme moyen de reconnaître la valeur et l'importance du respect des peuples autochtones.
And just sort of a flip side kind of question, we understand the RCMP as they consider what to do with Canadians who may have fought for ISIS in Syria and Iraq. are considering pursuing crimes against humanity, that sort of charge. I wonder if you have some thoughts on that, or generally how well our laws and systems are prepared to collect and prosecute war crimes that may have been committed by Canadians in Syria and Iraq.
First of all, we fully respect the role of the RCMP to make determinations independently on how it will proceed with prosecutions, with its approach in various investigations. We have confidence in the RCMP. One of the challenges when it comes to international issues of this sort is always making the translation from intelligence gathering activities to presenting evidence of crimes. That is something that the RCMP, our intelligence agencies, and indeed agencies around the world are struggling with and working on very hard. And we're making sure that we're giving the necessary resources and the necessary collaboration across our allies and partners to be able to come to the kinds of answers that Canadians and indeed people around the world expect.
Prime Minister, thank you. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he will put tariffs on Mexico if they don't do more to address immigration. I'm wondering if, in light of new NAFTA, whether your government will move ahead with the ratification of the new NAFTA deal if those tariffs are put in place against Mexico.
We are excited about the ratification process. The lifting of the steel and aluminum tariffs was the last remaining barrier for us to move forward on ratification. We know that this new NAFTA will secure good jobs for Canadians, secure many of our industries, continue to have market access to the largest market in the world. We know that this is something that is extremely important for Canadians, which is why we are moving forward on ratification in parallel with the American process. The Mexican government has indicated that the tariffs, or these threats of tariffs by the American administration towards them, will not interfere with their ratification process, and we will take them at their word. Nous savons que le nouvel accord de l'ALENA est un accord important pour créer de la croissance économique, contribuer à des emplois, protéger les travailleurs et les familles au Canada. Et nous allons donc procéder aux étapes de ratification en ligne avec le processus américain. Nous avions entendu le gouvernement mexicain qui a expliqué que ces tarifs potentiels des Américains envers les Mexicains n'allaient pas venir remettre en question leur processus de ratification, et nous acceptons ce qu'ils disent.
As a follow-up, what do you think it will take to mend relations with China at this point in time? And do you plan to look for a meeting with President Xi next at the G20 in Japan?
I look forward to being at the G20 in a few weeks as an opportunity to engage with a number of world leaders with whom we have either good working relationships or challenges. And the opportunity to engage with the Chinese president directly is certainly something that we are looking at. The continued detention of two Canadians in an arbitrary manner by the Chinese government is of utmost concern to us. Their actions on canola, their issues around other products as well is of concern, and we are going to highlight that the processes and the engagement that Canada has with the world and the way China should engage with the world needs to remain following the rules, principles and values that we've all agreed to. J'ai hâte d'être au Japon pour le G20. C'est une opportunité d'échanger avec bien des leaders avec qui on s'entend, avec qui on a des défis. C'est toujours une occasion d'avancer les intérêts du Canada et des Canadiens. Par rapport à la Chine, évidemment, notre première préoccupation, c'est le sort des Canadiens qui sont détenus de façon arbitraire par les Chinois pour des raisons politiques. Nous sommes aussi préoccupés par leurs actions sur le canola et le potentiel d'autres actions sur d'autres produits. Certainement qu'on va regarder si ce serait approprié ou désirable d'avoir une conversation directement avec le président chinois. Merci tout le monde.